All right, guys, how's it going? It's the Eastbayanglers, and today we're talking all about Los Vaqueros, and we're talking about Los Vaqueros specifically pertaining to striper fishing, stripers, striped bass. Sometimes, you know, some people see the stripers and think someone's saying strippers, funny, ha ha. But today we're talking about, baits that are gonna catch you monster stripers at Los Vaqueros. We're talking about really some of the more effective baits that I would throw and I have thrown. So we're gonna talk about why, where, when, and we're gonna talk brands. We're gonna tell you some of the baits. Let's get started. First bait that I really want to recommend to you guys is a Spro BBZ. So they have some larger versions of the BBZ, and the reason that I like to throw this one out there to you guys is it's extremely it's relatively cheap. It's affordable yet extremely effective. It's a good lure. It gets bit, and these stripers, they really, when you get some nice stripers, they destroy your swim baits. So sometimes having some of these swim baits that cost a couple $100, there's $500, $1,000 swim baits out there. Having that swim bait getting munched up by a bunch of 5, 10, 15 pound stripers might not make sense. But the Spro BBZ, there's a couple sizes. Larger sizes are the best, as big as you can throw. So you're going to be throwing these almost all year long. You can throw these. We're talking today focusing mostly on swim baits, and the next one we're going to talk about is going to be I know you guys, Huddleston. Everybody's heard of a Huddleston that's been in the bass world a while. These are really productive. Rate of fall, they've got a couple different ROF 5 and 12, but basically I really like the 12. I really like the ones that get down a bit deeper, but then sometimes, let's say I'm fishing warmer water, I'm gonna essentially maybe want that slower rate of fall. And when I'm fishing colder water, I'm going to want that faster rate of fall. So in general, you can get a lot of different Huddlestons. I would recommend starting out, if you've never purchased one, get the Huddleston Deluxe. It's the 68, so it's a 6-inch, but it has an 8-inch tail. And then, there's also an 8-inch one and a 10-inch one. Those are all extremely good, and they're affordable. Thing is, you're going to get a couple really good striper on these, and you're going to have to play around with some Mend It, fix them up. And don't be surprised, guys, going out there. We're talking about baits today that are going to catch striped bass up to 35 plus pounds. These are not just going to catch striped bass. They will catch largemouth and just about, these are going for big fish. So if you get a bite, you're generally going to be getting quality fish. You're not just going to be getting a bunch of rats. So I always have a Huddleston. I always have some BBZs, Spro with me, trout type swim baits. One of the other things I really like to do is I like to keep a Rapala F-18, and I have some that are rainbow trout painted, and then I have some that I've custom painted and had custom painted, and those are really good. You get those F-18s. They're a floater stick bait, but essentially you can work them on the top and kind of get reactions maybe as they plant the rainbow trout. They're planting them, and the stripers are just kind of going all over. Or sometimes maybe the striper are boiling, and just that F-18 gets bit. It's a big bait. It's about 8 inches long, almost, or 7 3/4. It's just shy of 8 inches long, the profile. It's a bit slender, but that rainbow trout is what we're trying to key in on, guys. Sorry about that, my dog. Stop, Lucy. So we're trying to key in on the rainbow trout because the main forage for the quality stripers in Los Vaqueros, for the big stripers, is going to be rainbow trout. That's what they're going to be eating the majority of the year. That's what they're going to be focusing on, keying in on, because that is the best meal, and it is the most, let's be real here, the rainbow trout is the easiest meal to catch for a striped bass. It's going to be a lot easier. They're going to have to do a lot less to catch these, you know, cut tail trout that have no teeth and really haven't developed their muscles and bones because they've been raised in a bucket. So the next bait we're going to talk about is going to be another bait that I really, well, I'll share, you know, I'm going to share it with you guys, and a lot of people haven't caught on to it. I was only able to use it a few times there. I've been using it everywhere I go now, and that's the Megabass Magdraft in the rainbow trout pattern, and that's an absolute killer bait. It's another one of those baits you can throw out there and really have a lot of success on, and it's got that stinger hook option, which allows you to really catch just like you can catch a lot of fish on that bait. It's surprising how good it is. And if you guys haven't checked that out, Magdraft. So next bait we're going to talk about when you're striper fishing, something, you know, you definitely need to have is going to be one of these 22nd centuries. They're like a old school style jointed hard bait swim bait, but they look a little funky, and their paint jobs aren't as detailed as a lot of these other companies, but they're, you know, relatively I want to say they're more of a flat lure. The each joint is much flatter and thinner, and it just seems like they work a lot better in cold water, kind of like a lipless crankbait. You know, that flat body, that style works really well in the cold water, and then you get those round wobble crankbaits, and they do really well in the warmer water. So same concept, but essentially that's a really good bait and to have in your arsenal. Another thing I'm going to talk about is going to be, well, it's something that a lot of people don't really consider, and that's throwing large flies. So 8, 10, 12, 14-inch flies that are custom handmade by somebody who really has put in years and years of research and time on a vise to figure out how to do a large rainbow trout. And you can get that done with all kinds of different materials. Each material is going to really excel. So bucktail is going to really excel in the colder months of the year, and then your craft furs and your synthetic type of materials are going to do a lot better in the warmer months of the year. But that's another option a lot of people just don't think about, is go out there with like a 7 to 9 weight fly rod or even a spinning rod and just throw a giant fly. Sometimes it can be weighted and keeled down. Sometimes you can have it weightless and strip it off the top. Either way, a lot of times it's very similar to a glide bait. It's just that it has a very unique action. So these are big baits we're talking about today for big fish, quality fish. But today we're talking Los Vaqueros stripers. We're talking, you know, my favorite lures and baits, you know, to catch big striper. If you guys want to go out there and catch a lot of shakers, go out there and throw anchovies. Okay. If you want to go out there and get constant bites. But if you want to go out there and you want to catch the fish that's just going to get you, oh man, you're going to be talking about this fish for years. You might be talking about this fish for the rest of your life. You know, if you want to catch a bunch of those fish, it's really not that hard. You just need to get out there and throw some of these baits I'm talking about and, you know, focus. If you're, you know, we're trout fish, I mean, we're throwing trout patterns. So focus on, you know, if you mark trout, if you can find a trout, you know, you're going to find the striper. And generally fall and spring, I cover shallow water that has deep water access. And then when it's winter time, I'm actually covering a lot of shallow water, and it's just a really, really effective method to catch large stripers. A lot of people want to know how to get a big striper. You're not going to get a big striper by throwing a little piece of you know, anchovies out there. I mean, you can, but the odds, you know, it's going to be 1 in 1,500 bites maybe, you know. Whereas this, really, you're up in your odds. So I hope this helps, guys. Go out there, Los Vaqueros, get yourself a Mondo striper, fish of a lifetime, and post you know, post pics and you know, put that down in the on the old bucket list, because a lot of people out there, they really just don't understand that those bigger stripers are gonna mostly feed on those rainbow trout. And that's how they got big, and that's how they're getting bigger. So I gotta tell you guys, we hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you get out there and get on some striper soon.